So what is the goal of IFS, or fragment integration, or inner child work, parts work? I will give you my answer for that. There's a lot of great wisdom out there, and I'm sure there's other perspectives and answers. Here is mine. My personal goal is to get to the point where I've integrated all of my fragments, which I can tune into energetically and ask my system how many pieces, like separate chunks of my psyche, still exist, and how whole is the portion of my psyche that is all together. And I can get percentages, and I can get relatively close to the number of how many fragments or inner child wounds or parts I still have, pieces of my psyche that are separate enough that I can lose contact with them, and they can also blend and kind of take the seat of consciousness, or blend with the seat of consciousness and my true self. So my goal is to integrate all of them, which in my experience looks like that's possible, and I do believe a lot of things are possible. I know some people might say that full integration is not possible. You're going to always have a lot of different pieces, and who knows? We'll find out as we go along. I've seen a lot of things, and I don't keep anything in the realm of impossible. Okay, so my goal is to get fully integrated, and what that's going to mean is that parts that were separate from my true self and living stuck in that moment in time, living there day and night, that's their reality, they're stuck there and just completely overwhelmed with the trauma of that moment, get them unburdened, so release the wounds, heal, meet their needs, and introduce them to the true self, so they have access to my present day self and everything that I have accumulated in experience and knowledge and skills and capability. Also, the true self is packed full of love, healing love, and compassion, non-judgment, desire to connect, and creativity, and is very powerful. So that is my goal. And then once they have integrated with myself, they often can feel like they still function a little bit as a part, in that my wounded orphan part, I wasn't actually an orphan, but that's what the part was called. After it integrated, it wanted to be an angel that was in charge of observing other people around me who might be in need of love, or compassion, and to notify me and say, oh, that person over there, I can tell that they could really use some love and compassion. So that part of myself can pop up into my awareness, and it doesn't feel separate, but it can feel like just like that skill, or that awareness, that portion of my awareness, if that's a great way to describe it. Also, some parts have extra gifts of playfulness, of actual gifts, like gift for soothing, healing touch, or for humor, or for organization, for analyzing details, and they also all kinds of things. And so in my experience, someone who's integrated can still experience different aspects of themselves, but they're not so separate. And it's also not heavy anymore. Even if there's a portion or a skill for noticing boundary breaches, and there's naturally some anger or concern that goes along with that, it's not nearly as intense. It's more of, oh, I can hear my system telling me that it feels uncomfortable with that choice or action that's happening between me and another person. I need to speak up. And I'll often still speak I'm not fully integrated, I still have some more parts, but I find it still useful, probably always, to speak in parts when having a conversation with someone that I have a relationship with, where I'm working through some parts, and say a part of me feels concerned or feels scared about moving ahead in this way, and I currently am noticing I have a need for finding a way to soothe that concern. And so even I find that speaking in parts, or addressing that my core true self part, like my true self, feels trust and believing, and loves to live in alignment. And sometimes, and then when I experience an experience of emotions or fear or anger, then I like to still speak in parts so that people have that confirmation that it's not all of me. The majority of me, or a good portion of me, is not scared, but a portion of me is, and I'm going to speak for it and speak from that place. All right, there we go. So what that could look like is, so the process in my experience of parts and inner child work and fragment integration is gaining a relationship from the true self with that portion of ourself and reparenting it, giving it love, helping meet its needs that didn't get met back in whatever time period it was, and then updating it and bringing it into the present day to live with us at all times. And during that process, it includes a lot of its relationship building. So it can include a long period of, sometimes a significant period of time of building that relationship, of talking with it live in the moment when it gets triggered, when you're at a trailhead and the trigger comes up and you can hear it talking very loudly, doing whatever its job is as a protector or an exile that feels afraid or hurt. And so talking with it in my mind, live, and even getting to the point in the relationship where I can say, oh, I hear you and I really care about your concerns and I really want to help you and I'm here for you and I love you and I'll never leave you. Right now I'm in the middle of a meeting or middle of something and we can't stop and take care of this right now, but I can in 2 hours when I get out of this meeting, or I can tonight and we can talk then. And parts can get to the point where they trust you enough that they can do that and they go, okay, I'll patiently, quietly wait here. And then we're gonna talk tonight at 5 o'clock, like you said. And then doing a session or doing a writing exercise to voice and work with the part. So I also want to give a shout out for how amazing it is to become a loving, patient, compassionate, wise parent to yourself. It's one of my favorite things to have the experience of seeing for yourself that, holy cow, this child or this teenager or adult, whatever it is, whatever the part is, this part really deserves to be helped and to be comforted and to help it get its needs met. And I love it and I see that it's lovable and I want it to receive that, and how awesome it is that I get to be the one who gives it to it, that I get to be the one who gets to tell it how lovable it is, to give it love, to help it with its needs. It's pretty amazing. It's very divine to connect into the true self and to get to experience that inside of ourselves. And so I find that the work is fantastic. Even when getting in contact with trigger and with parts that have wounds can be a lot, and it's a lot of work. And depending on what the trauma is that it carries, can be really scary, which is why it's useful to have someone hold space. I find for myself, at least, for most deep things, I have to have someone else present. If nothing else, just so that the part in me, because usually our parts haven't received enough love from us or enough compassion or haven't been understood. And so we have neglected them or disliked them or have been angry at them, or other parts inside of us have been angry at them for what contribution they've brought to our life. And so often having another person helps my parts feel like, okay, good. So even if Emily's mean to me and this other part hates me, there's at least one safe person in the room. Like there's at least one person who's going to be nice to me. Not that I'm abusive to my parts, but we all have been very neglectful when we don't understand them. And I find that once you understand them, like IFS describes, once you understand them and understand their intent and what they've been through, you totally get it. And you're just instantly filled with love and compassion for them. And you're like, oh my goodness, I love you. I want to help you, whatever it takes. Okay, so beautiful journey, beautiful work, so extremely powerful. The same thing can be accomplished in my experience with a lot of hours of therapy or seeing all types of specialists. And with inner work, like the way the IFS outlines it, it's insanely fast and powerful. You get all the details, you get to experience all of the information needed, you get to experience your true self. it's really awesome. And it also builds the skills of talking with yourself, being loving with yourself and with all of your parts. It's very common, especially in today's society, to have negative self-talk and to kind of respond to our parts and our wounds in not very supportive, loving ways. And learning how to love and truly love and adore all of our parts is an amazing journey. And it makes life really awesome to be your own best friend, to sincerely love and cherish and care about yourself and all of your parts. And then that also opens the door to be able to see that and do that for other people, to be able to comprehend their firefighter behaviors, can still set boundaries, but to have the capacity to see where it can be coming from. So it's awesome. Cheers to all of my other seekers and people doing their inner work and their healing work and healing themselves. It's amazing. Cheers to having this knowledge and information. And as always, if you need support or if you're looking for someone to hold space for you, I love to do that. You can always reach out.